Move on with Simon, ever move on to the righteous side of God. Hallelujah, move on to the righteous side. Move on to the righteous side. Move on to the righteous side of God. Ịdị ebube, ịdị ebube ebube. Esoro amara ụzọ m mama eze m mama Biafrans are able to go up and take that country, to possess the land from coast and to the sea. Though the giants may be on our way to hinder, God must surely give us victory. Only move on to the righteous side. Move on with Simon, ever move on to the righteous side of God. Hallelujah, move on to the righteous side. Move on to the righteous side. Move on to the righteous side of God.
Biafra self-referendum will open for early e-voting February 1st, 2024 through May 30th, 2024. The Biafra Republic government in exile wants all Biafrans to participate and have their voices heard. Here is what you need to do. Use your Twitter account to follow the Prime Minister. When the voting platform opens, he will post the link. Use the link to register and vote. Each voter must have an individual Gmail account, provide their name, Biafra state, and county. An ID is not required to vote. After voting, share the link widely to others. Be sure to help our elders or those that may not be able to register themselves. Children below the age of 18 are not eligible to participate in the self-referendum. For any questions or additional information, call +3 584 1584 1937.
Regarding the popular demand about Gmail, right? This is a screen record now. So go to your Gmail on your phone. As you can see, you tap on your Gmail, right? At the left side, nake na mgbago n'elu ya, ị ga-afụ these 3 dots. You tap on ya. You tap anya, ịgbadata na settings. No, if you setting, n'ime setting ahụ ị ga-afụ general setting, for some other emails nọ na ya already. Ị bịa na add account. Imetụ ya aka, o mepere gị ebe ya afụ Gmail and other thing, Yahoo Mail and other thing nọ n'okpuru ya, right? You tap whether Google. You tap Google ahụ ka nọ na security. Ka m kpọpe my security code. Ka m kpọpe security code m ọ na-aga. Efugo ya. O budata gị ebe a. Ị ga-afụ ebe edere email or phone number. If ebe edere forgotten email, if ebe edere create email, ya create account, ya dị ife a. Imetụ ya aka, o bupụtara gị my personal use, kpọpụtaziri gị for my business. Ị tapụọ personal, okay? O mepere gị personal, otu o si mepe ugbu a dịka ị na-ahụ na ya screen. Ị bịa tinye your name, first name, ị tinye your full name and your last name. O mepe. So, for example, ka metụ m ya aka first mail, let's say Biafra, for example, right? That as first name. Tap ya again, nwere ike tinye let's say one love, okay? Ka ị hụrụ ya, ị bịa mezie aka na next. Ifuru ka ọ na-aga, o mepee, o bupụtara gị ebe ị ga-etinye ya month. Ife ndị a niile bụ You fill your normal data information. Okay, you select here the month. Bam. On BRGIE, for example, let me use January. The tap or January. August, I say put the day. Yambosi, Amlogi, Momboso, Bonabo, white or use a chief. You met to the day aka. Let's say 12 January, you know. Or say year. The tap working at the year 1988, right? In any anya about the gender. Gender abụ ka ịbụ nwoke ka ịbụ nwanyị imetụ ya aka o mepee iselect ya option ọbụla ị chọrọ ịbụrụ nwanyị iselect ya female ịbụrụ nwoke iselect ya male right ka iselect ya ịgbadata n'okpuru ya ime aka na next ị na-afụ ya ya ka o si aga ikretgo email be that ifugo ya o kreti ya na furu nke a m sendịrị kịta na ọ jụzie gị kedu nke ị chọrọ ka ọ bụrụ Biafra otu a otu wee dị n'elu ya ka ịchọ ka ọ bụrụ na the second one ifugo ya imesịa ya otu anwa ichuzo for example let me choose can choose ụmụ nke anọ n'okpuru ya which is this ifugo ya ichuzugo m ya mpịa aka na next right ọ sị gị tinye email no sorry ọ sị gị tinye password i creatizie password gị chọrọ ikrete ebe a create a password let's say confidence, right? For example, that is it. I'll say no. Choose another password because that password I go so many in the user. So game as in key choose any password I'm gonna choose. Okay. Let's say star cast. Okay. That is done, right? I create a email and then I show say create email. If we are ibada banana, if we are Sigi is click here. I am done. If we are ya na emogo onya emogo email. I create email using Biafra One Love. If we are eneze ya n'okpuru ya ba. Or if I'm a match email voice email this voice screen record because message na bata ọtụtụ from different platform ya nke fibatara n'enu ya so otu isi mee ya kịta now emesigo m ya obupụtago Biafra One Love ihe ya n'okpuru ya that is the email dị ya nwa imezi aka na next mee aka na next scroll down right scroll bit down if ya ịbịazie mee aka na I agree kpam ụtọ nwa ka ya esi wee create ya your email right is done. Okay, here we go.
All right, we are welcome, my people. This our Prime Minister message. He just reposted it now, and when you look at the message, everything in the message is just what is going on today. So I will implore you to cool down, sit down, and listen to this. It's everything you need to hear today. So let's go.
agha ji eri anyị kedu ebe mgbiri mgbe ọnụ jere mmiri ji ama eze afọ riri ebugo m ọgịnị ọka mmadụ nwa kebe ewu na-ata ya dịba ndebe anyị ọkwa ndị ọha na eze ndị Igbo emechiwo n'ọnụ ha achọghị ikwu okwu eburu onye ozu nwa onye ọzọ dịka ebukwu nkụ gedekwanụ m ntị onye na-eche gbasara ya mgbarakwa amara na ọkwa na-achị ọchị ebe a na-abụ ọkụkọ marakwa na ọka esi abụ ọkụkọ ka esi abụ ọkwa onye makwara onye ọya wụ nwa ya echi Igbo ndị ọma nwe geenụ m ntị n'onu asị na Igbo anaghị agba ọsọ mmiri ma ozu ha ahụ nsị ka ngwu nnunu mepee anya na mmiri erugokwa obodo n'onu Igbo ga-akwa ka mmiri chaba ha anya Igbo chịkọọ n'onwe unu ọrụ na asị na Igbo enwe eze ogwu ha bakwara egwu nchakasị anya ọwụzikwa ha ọgụrụ na-agara nwa ya Igbo ndị ọma nwa m ihe awụzikwa ọkụ nwata agba ngada anya ihe awụzikwa ọsọ nwaanyị na-agba na-achịara ya aka onye makwa ka ọ ya adị ya dụrụ Igbo wụkarụ ntị unu mepee na anya na ọkụkara eti ka ihe ji ha ya n'ọkọ ha nụrụ ọnụ ya obodo ọrụ enweghị ha ji chere mberede ga na-anwụ ọnwụ mberede akwa riri egbukwa ene m Igbo ndị ọgbakọ m onye ebe agbaghị ụzọ were mgbe ọ naghị echi ihe nnekwukwa ugbu a ngwere ka na-ata azama ka a gbasịa ya eze maka ọ toruo ka agụ iyi ọtọba mmadụ ọ na-eme ebe karịa akwa ya nwụrụ anwụ dịka ya gburu anya ma abịa ka nnaba maka na ọnụma na-esu m n'obi ka m gasịwa mma pịa ụta nji eje agha
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are watching from. I know we are all tired this evening. We've just finished listening to our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's broadcast. And of course, as usual, most of us are tired. Remember, we are working tomorrow. And so we have to do this very, very snappy and very fast. Today, I have come. If you are watching me for the very first time, this is the awareness for Nigeria disintegration. This is the awareness for Biafra independence, for Biafra freedom, for the freedom of Biafra people. Biafra is a nation inside Nigeria, part of Nigeria at the moment, and now we are seeking for exit from Nigeria. We are seeking for exit from Nigeria for several and numerous reasons. Some of these reasons being that Nigeria were never one country. Some of this reason being that in 1914, when they amalgamated different nations and joined them as one, the people of this comprising nation were not consulted. In addition that they were not consulted, the Igbo-speaking part of Biafra were never part of those who signed the agreement for the 1914 amalgamation. After this 1914 amalgamation, a lot of impunity has happened in Nigeria, and Nigeria have divided along ethnic and tribal line. The system of governance in Nigeria is nothing to compare to any other country in the world. A section of the country continue to use terrorism, continue to sponsor terrorism, continue to believe that the conquest of 18 to 19 centuries are still valid and can be practiced in 21st century. The conquest of the northern Nigeria, orchestrated by a man called Usman Danfodio, the average northerner today in Nigeria followed the footstep of Usman Danfodio conquest. They forget that in this modern age, a lot of international treaty, a lot of human rights laws that were not there in those days are now in place, and Nigeria as an entity is signatory to this international instrument. Nigeria has breached, violated these international laws with impunity. The human rights violations and abuse in Nigeria is not to be compared with any country existing today. Nigeria government has continued to show their support for terrorists. Nigeria government have continued to show direct and openly that they support jihad attack, they support the killings and ethnic cleansing of Christians in Nigeria. They openly support the Fulanization and Islamization of Nigeria. And Nigeria being a secular state, today they have maliciously succeeded in making some countries in the Western world to recognize Nigeria as Islamic nation. As I'm talking to you today, country like France recognize that Nigeria is a Muslim nation in their official document. Example of the official document is the registry, the marriage registry application, or the marriage registry guide. The guide how to register your marriage, issued by the French authority today, has it that Nigeria is a Muslim nation. This information are information that are hidden, that a lot of people, the public, don't have knowledge about what is going on around the world. Also, Nigeria is known as, the official language of Nigeria is English language. English language being the official language of Nigeria, you are going to ask a question, what is Arabic language? What is Arabic sign? What is Arabic written doing in the army coat of arms, in the army of Nigeria coat of arms, or the army logo? The army logo today has the inscription in Arabic. If English language is the official language of Nigeria, what is that Arabic sign language or Arabic language doing in that military badge? So for this reason and other numerous reasons that I will not go into details telling you here, the people of Biafra are opting out of Nigeria. We have been able to call and awaken the spirit of almost all Nigerians. Today, Oduduwa people are opting out of Nigeria. It doesn't matter how small they are today, those who have started the agitation in Yoruba, in Oduduwa Republic. It doesn't matter how small they are. It doesn't matter whether it is only 5% or 1% of Yorubas, but we are looking at the number to grow very rapidly. The same thing has happened in the Middle Belt. They have also joined that they are opting out of Nigeria. We are also looking at that number to grow as rapidly as possible. The only solution, the only thing that will bring solution to the terrorist attack happening all over Nigeria, to the jihadist attack happening all over Nigeria, the only solution is the disintegration of Nigeria. Because when you disintegrate Nigeria, you disintegrate the interest of those who go into terrorism. You disintegrate the interest of their sponsors. You disintegrate the interest of the government itself. And for that reason, somebody like me have joined to liberate the people of Biafra. For that reason, I have come out to sacrifice everything that is sacrificable to make sure that Nigeria is disintegrated and everybody goes their way. That is the only thing that will bring peace to the entire Sahel region. The United Nations Charter made it very clear. United Nations was set up to maintain global peace. How do United Nations maintain global peace? Especially amongst nations. When a nation is into war, and it has to do with a war of determination, self-determination, the United Nations has a role to play. By ending that war, they have to intervene and either grant independence or the process of independence to the other agitating nation. It is not that every nation must go to war. It is not that every nation must agitate and fight for freedom with weapons. But if the United Nations is expecting that the Biafra people will go to civil war for the second time, then so be it. The United Nations should remember that between North and South Sudan, the war lasted for tens of years before they intervened and then divided Sudan into North and Southern Sudan. Today, in Southern Sudan, however the case may be, it can never be the same with Nigeria. The United Nations also has intervened in several countries where there are conflict. What we are saying now is that the Nigeria problem is a little bit different than all these countries that UN has intervened. The Nigeria problem is very clear, not complicated. You have three major nations that made up Nigeria: Oduduwa, Biafra, and Arewa Republic. We are asking that the UN, the United Nations, must look inward for the solution of the impending war that is about to break out in Nigeria. Nigeria is already at war. It is not yet civil. It is not yet nationwide, but Nigeria is already at war. Now, what I'm about to do this evening is to expose those people you call the elite from the northern Nigeria. I want to explain to you and expose what they think, how they think when it comes to conquest, when it comes to grabbing and invasion of your land. I want to tell you today, you have to check those who you think they are educated. You have to check those who you think they are smart. You have to check those who you think they speak for the people. And I am starting today with the former Emir of Kano, Lamido Sanusi. Lamido Sanusi was governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. He was among those as in quest to implement the federalization of Nigeria. He sabotaged the government of Goodluck Jonathan. He alleged that money was stolen from the oil revenue, and at the end of the day, we found out that no money was missing and no money was stolen. That was what Sanusi Lamido used as a blackmail against Goodluck Jonathan. At the end of the day, they promised to make him the Emir of Kano, which he eventually became the Emir of Kano, and he was disgraced out of the office. We also have this kind of intelligence report that Buhari, the man in Aso Rock, they call Buhari, the Aso Rock people, the presidency, they are going to dump Tinubu, and probably will like to use Lamido Sanusi as the governor or as the presidential aspirant, or to vie for the office of the president if Nigeria continue to be a country. So this evening I have come to remember Lamido Sanusi Lamido. Be my guest. The only thing you have to do is to share this video, especially to those who are still shouting "One Nigeria" and to those in the northern part of Nigeria. If you do not understand why nobody is condemning the killing by Fulanis and this Mayete Allah, you are about to know how each and every one from the Northern Caliphate thinks. This evening, welcome. You are watching me live and direct on Facebook, live and direct on Twitter, live and direct on YouTube. Welcome aboard. We have to now go straight to business. Before I go further, let me start by playing the video. Most of you must have watched severally of the United States ex-president Barack Hussein Obama. Watch. And after this video I played a few days ago in my program. I want to play it again because it is connected with what I'm about to do today.
Hello. Today I want to speak directly to you, the people of Nigeria. Nigeria is a great nation, and you can be proud of the progress you've made. Together you've won your independence, emerged from military rule, and strengthened democratic institutions. You've strived to overcome divisions and turn Nigeria's diversity into a source of strength. You've worked hard to improve the lives of your families and to build the largest economy in Africa. Now you have a historic opportunity to help write the next chapter of Nigeria's progress by voting in the upcoming elections. For elections to be credible, they must be free, fair, and peaceful. All Nigerians must be able to cast their votes without intimidation or fear. So I call on all leaders and candidates to make it clear to their supporters that violence has no place in democratic elections, and that they will not incite, support, or engage in any kind of violence before, during, or after the votes are counted. I call on all Nigerians to peacefully express your views and to reject the voices of those who call for violence. And when elections are free and fair, it is the responsibility of all citizens to help keep the peace, no matter who wins. Successful elections and democratic progress will help Nigeria meet the urgent challenges you face today. Boko Haram, a brutal terrorist group that kills innocent men, women, and children, must be stopped. Hundreds of kidnapped children deserve to be returned to their families. Nigerians who have been forced to flee deserve to return to their homes. Boko Haram wants to destroy Nigeria and all that you have built. By casting your ballot, you can help secure your nation's progress. I'm told that there's a saying in your country: to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. Today I urge all Nigerians, from all religions, all ethnic groups, and all regions, to come together and keep Nigeria one. And in this task of advancing the security, prosperity, and human rights of all Nigerians, you will continue to have a friend and partner in the United States of America.
Now, to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done, according to Hussein Barack Obama. I played the video. This was in 2015. You just watch him directly interfering in Nigeria election, directly sponsoring the terrorists in Nigeria, directly speaking for the terrorists you have now in Nigeria, interfering in Nigeria election. And Obama cannot go to Kenya and preach that Kenya must be one. Obama visited Kenya, Obama visited Ghana. In those countries he visited in Africa, he never urged and told them that it is a task for everyone to make Kenya to stay at like one. He did not tell people in Ghana that it is everyone's task to make Ghana one country. Obama never visited Nigeria, but he was in America interfering in Nigeria election, telling you how it has become a task for him or for anybody to make Nigeria one, to continue to force Nigeria to be one. But Obama, Barack Hussein never visited Nigeria. He never visited Nigeria. If he has visited Nigeria, I don't know. But I am aware of Ghana. I am aware of Kenya. I am not aware of him visiting Nigeria. Now, you just watch him interfered. He interfered in Nigeria election. And these are the people condemning Russia, that Russia interfered in America election. Look at a president of America coming publicly to interfere in Nigeria election. It didn't end here. On the eve of the election, or before the eve of the election, Barack Obama sent his Secretary of State, John Kerry, to visit Nigeria. When John Kerry came to Nigeria, he went straight to visit the Sultan of Sokoto and ignored every other traditional ruler in Nigeria. The only people they went to pay homage to are the Caliphate. Now, this is not why I'm here. This is not why I'm here. I'm just letting you know. For those of you in America that want to go and vote Democrats, you are voting, you are trying to commit the worst mistake in your lifetime. Those of you who want to go and vote Democrat in America, Obama, you just watch now, the person that is running as a president of America today under the Democrat is or was the deputy or the vice president to Obama. It was not only that he was a vice president to Obama, he was also a family friend, or that he is still a family friend. So we are not talking about political ally. We are talking about someone who is number 1 and number 2, 5 and 6 of Barack Hussein Obama. Everything, the policy, if they eventually by mistake win with your vote in America, everything they are going to do is to bring back Islamization and Islamic State all over the world. I want you to watch this.
Good morning. Welcome to the first panel of the...
One moment.
Good morning. Welcome to the first panel of the Mo Ibrahim 2017 Forum. We have a big topic today, the appeal of violent extremism and migration, and we have a very renowned panel. So what I'd like to do this morning is we have about an hour and a half. We will start with 45 to 50 minutes of discussion among the panel. Then we'll turn it over to the audience, starting first with our Mo Ibrahim fellows and scholars, and allow them to ask a few questions so that we can get the voice of the young leaders of this continent into this discussion. And then I'll turn it over to you. I'll make sure that... Emir, how do you see it?
I think we need to be a bit careful about using a diagnosis for every place and every time. And we need greater clarity on specific and local contexts before we talk about solutions. And this is true of the globe.
Did you hear that? He laid background. He laid background. He tried to lay the background and the methodology in which he felt that the people should address the issue of extremism and migration. And you will be shocked what is going to come out from this man. And he was the emir. A lot of you, when he was sacked as the emir of Kano, you all begin to have sympathy, and you don't know what he represents. Today you are going to know what he represents and what he thinks. Just watch.
Global narrative is true of local narratives. So if you take the discourse on what's called Islamic extremism, for example, if you come to Algeria and you read the works of Abbas Madani, or you go to Tunisia and read the works of Rashid Ghanouchi, or you go to Sudan and read the works of Churabi and Sayyid Qutb, you can see the
represent. Today you are.
However, we do know that Boko Haram is a group that
represent. Today
you read the works of Abbas Madani, or you go to Tunisia and read the works of Rashid Ghanouchi, or you go to Sudan and read the works of Churabi, Banna, and Sayyid Qutb. You can see the of Churabi, Banna, and Sayyid Qutb. You can see the intellectual underpinning of Boko Haram. What do you find? There is nothing. Or ISIS or Al-Qaeda. Now, it's very easy to just say, oh, Boko Haram is an Islamic extremist movement. But what is the underlying thinking? However, we do know that Boko Haram is a group that metamorphosed and matured in the Chad Basin, that the Chad Basin has lost 90% of its water resources, that agricultural development disappeared, that industry disappeared, that those are the areas with the highest levels of poverty in the world. One of the most interesting things about countries like mine is that globally, well, we have all these indices. So you look at UNDP index, and you see, if you take the UNDP OHDI poverty.
Did you listen to him indirectly justifying Boko Haram? Did you listen to him indirectly telling you that everybody knows that Boko Haram metamorphosed as a result of industry disappearing, water disappearing in the Sahel region or whatever, and this one disappearing? So for that reason, he see justification inside his heart for Boko Haram, and this was the emir. And when he was making this statement, he was still the emir of Kano. I want you, this is just the beginning. You are going to cry if you don't know what this man represents until today. This is just the beginning. I'm not going to, finish what I'm about to do with him today. I will continue tomorrow. But I want you to listen very attentively.
Poverty index in 2015.
So that you think I don't misquote him. I want you to listen again for those who are going to get bored by my going back and going front. Believe me, this program is not for you. I am going to go back and go forward and go back and go forward. So for us not to misquote out of context or quote him out of context, I want to take the thing a little bit back so that you will listen when he was telling you, justifying why Boko Haram has metamorphosed to what they are today. Now watch.
Texts before we talk about solutions. And this is true of the global narrative, it's true of local narratives. So if you take the discourse on what's called Islamic extremism, for example, if you come to Algeria and you read the works of Abbas Madani, or you go to Tunisia and read the works of Rashid Ghanouchi, or you go to Sudan and read the works of Churabi, or you go to Egypt and read Hassan al-Banna and Sayyid Qutb, you can see the different flavors of the intellectual underpinnings of those movements. Now, if you want to know what's the intellectual underpinning of Boko Haram, what do you find? There is nothing. Or ISIS or Al-Qaeda. Now,
he's telling you there is no intellectual interpretation of Boko Haram, ISIS or Al-Qaeda. But listen to him. What he failed was the interpretation, the intellectual interpretation of Boko Haram. Listen.
It's very easy to just say, oh, Boko Haram is an Islamic extremist movement. But what is the underlying thinking?
You see? He said that it is very easy for you to just open your mouth and tell and call Boko Haram extremists, that they are extremism. It is just easy for you to open your mouth and call Boko Haram terrorists, but you don't know what is the underlying, what made them to become terrorists. Now watch.
However, we do know that Boko Haram is a group that metamorphosed and matured in the Chad Basin, that the Chad Basin has lost 90% of its water resources.
It is because of the water, the Chad Basin water disappearance, Lake Chad disappearance. Listen to him, I will just allow him to finish talking.
However, we do know that Boko Haram is a group that metamorphosed and matured in the Chad Basin, that the Chad Basin has lost 90% of its water resources, that agricultural development disappeared, that industry disappeared, that those are the areas with the highest levels of poverty in the world.
So, it was justification. The water disappeared, agriculture disappeared, industry disappeared. So, for that reason, Boko Haram metamorphosed. Are you listening?
The most interesting things about countries like mine is that globally, well, we have all these indices. So you look at UNDP index, and you see, if you take the UNDP OHDI poverty index in 2015, poverty levels in Nigeria, 46%. 46% doesn't look too bad compared to other countries. However, if you break these numbers down, in the southwest of Nigeria, 80% are living above the poverty line. In the northwest, 80% are living below the poverty line. And suddenly it becomes two different countries.
You hear that? You hear the justification of why they are now invading the southern Nigeria. Now you understand why none of them, they are talking. Now you understand why the government cannot stop anybody carrying AK-47 to come to the southern part of Nigeria, because you are 80%, your 80% is living above poverty line. While in the north, 80% are living below poverty line. Do you know when I told you that you have to go and start looking for how to drink kunu and zobo? Do you remember when I told you? I said, it is time for you to go and start looking for how to drink kunu and zobo. Because what they are trying to do is to reduce you down to the FulA level. Those of you in the southern part of Nigeria. To reduce you, they are going to unleash economic jihad. They are going to unleash, normal jihad. And they will bring you down until you come to the level of FulA, and they will beat you with experience. That is what they are doing. That is why nobody is condemning when you hear them, when you hear America say the Al-Qaeda now is coming to the southern, none of them, they are not talking. They want you to experience what they have done to the people in the north. I want you to listen. And he told you here that from this, his narrative, Nigeria become two nations. I didn't say it too. He said it. That Nigeria is two nations. I did not say it. I want you to listen to him again.
The basin has lost 90% of its water resources, that agricultural development disappeared, that industry disappeared, that those are the areas with the highest levels of poverty in the world. One of the most interesting things about countries like mine is that globally, well, we have all these indices. So you look at UNDP index, and you see, if you take the UNDP OHDI poverty index in 2015, poverty levels in Nigeria, 46%. 46% doesn't look too bad compared to other countries. However, if you break these numbers down, in the southwest of Nigeria, 80% are living above the poverty line. In the northwest, 80% are living below the poverty line. And suddenly it becomes two different countries. Okay, and even those numbers don't tell you anything. As governor of Central Bank, I looked at numbers that said people are living on less than $2 a day. And it sounds bad, but you don't really know how bad it is until you look into the eyes of a woman whose baby has just died because she cannot afford drugs worth $5. Then you know what living on less than $2 a day means. You look at demographic numbers and demographic explosion, and you don't understand where they're coming from until you come to a society where a poor man who earns nothing has decided to marry 4 wives and have 25 children, and you cannot take care of them. And you see a complete failure of social policy. I mean, who is talking about marriage? Who's talking about family structure? Who's talking about child spacing? Who's talking about the ability to maintain the children that you bring? And when we go into crowd resources as states, so you have state governors in the north who have 3 million, 5 million children on the streets without school. They go to China and they're looking for money not to build schools, but to build a light rail. You know, I mean, you spend $2 billion on a light rail. $2 billion. Imagine how many children you would educate with that.
Now, one thing you don't know. You see, for those of you who don't know what is going on, one thing you don't know is that he has just done what he wanted to do. He has just justified the upsurge and the Boko Haram that Boko Haram metamorphosed for a particular reason. He has just justified them. He has just also told you that Nigeria suddenly have become two countries. He has done all that. Now he wants to play his smartness. He has come to tell you why they shouldn't build rail station or railway, why they should pump the money into bringing 4 million people out of the street, why they should build school, why they should do that. Believe me, he did not tell you why they should stop the Boko Haram from killing. He did not tell you what they should do so that Boko Haram in the Sahel will not kill again. He did not tell you what they should do for the thing that made Boko Haram to metamorphose, like he explained in the beginning, what the government should do or what the world should do to stop the killing. He diverted immediately because the people he is representing their interest. He has done that interest. He has represented their interest from his opening speech. Now he wants to go into minor politics in Nigeria. This is just the beginning. More bombs are coming. Now watch.
You know, you go to Abuja and Lagos and see all these beautiful bridges. You know, we're trying to look like London, you know, and yet you just move a few kilometers away, and to get from the main road to a village will take you 3 hours. Farmers cannot get their produce there. So the whole idea of understanding how people actually live, and that the state exists for that, and crowding resources for that. I would say globally we need more financial institutions that provide finance for social services.
Now, here is where they are bringing the Islamic Bank. He just make it here, you know, bringing a case. We need to bring in financial institution. The financial institution we are talking about is not IMF. The financial institution we are talking about is not World Development Bank. The financial institution we are talking about is not African Development Bank or whatever it is called. The financial institution he is trying to market here, or he was trying to market in that place, is the Islamic Bank. Islamic Bank. And do you know what they do? Sorry? Do you know what they do? They will tell you, IMF is not giving money. This one is not giving money. African Bank is not giving money. But this Islamic Bank want to give money. So are you going to reject it? Money, money, money from the Islamic Bank. That is what he went there to market. Now let us continue.
We want people to come in. There's so much money coming into power, into roads, into airports, into seaports. But how much of that really has an impact on the kinds of issues we're talking about? My country has 170 million people. The median age is 19. In the next 20 years, we're going to have 85 million Nigerians between the ages of 20 and 40. What are we going to do with them? That is the population of Germany. You know, so I think that mindset of anticipating these problems and putting in place the right developmental strategies and knowing what our priorities are and what is a problem in northern Nigeria may not even be the same problem in southern Nigeria, not to talk of being the same problem in Morocco. We're dealing...
That is exactly it. What is a problem in northern Nigeria may not be a problem in southern Nigeria. And that makes us two different countries to start with. If something that can be a problem in northern Nigeria is not the same problem with the southern Nigeria, then why are we one? Why are we one? Why do you have to now have two countries? Let's not even go into Biafra and all that. Why then will you have two countries in one country? And you want to have a solution to people in the north, a different solution to people in the north, and a different solution to people in the south. It can't work like that. I'm not saying it, you just heard it from him. He said that the problem in the north is not the same thing, is not the same problem in the south. So you cannot actually apply the same problem, the same solution. And how can you be in the same country? You are having different problem and different solution. It doesn't work like that. You can never have progress because other side of the country will always feel cheated. Country is a country that everybody should be the same. The same policy, the same problem, solve it together. You don't have one problem A and the other one have problem B, and then you say because it is this and then it is A and it is B, so we are different countries in one country. It doesn't work. And that is the reason why Nigeria is not working. That is the reason why we are telling you now, you that is shouting Nigeria, Nigeria, one Nigeria, you heard him. You are not one Nigeria, you are not more than one Nigeria, you know, than him. You are not more patriotic than him. He was a governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria.
With different issues. So greater understanding, greater use of data, more focused analysis, and understanding of local conditions would be the key.
Greater use of content, greater use of data. You don't have data. How are you going to use greater use of, how are you going to make greater use of data that you don't have? You should, when you have data, before you can begin to talk of use of data. There is no data in Nigeria. You don't know how many you are. You don't know the problem. So how are you going to use data that you don't have to solve a problem that you have?
And to get to that local level, more nuanced, more context-specific types of policies, there is a challenge, right? There's a challenge at the national level, but there's also a challenge in terms of north-south dynamics globally. You know, the questions about power and who defines
precisely
where the appropriate policies is one that needs to be dealt with.
Precisely, and it begins also from the whole idea of marginalization. So I'll give you a simple example. If you look at the number of the statistics in northern Nigeria on, say, illiteracy or out-of-school children, you find millions that are illiterate and out of school. Now, but if you actually spoke to these people, if a child has learned how to read the Quran and write Arabic and speak Arabic, he's still counted as an illiterate. But he's not really an illiterate. But because the system says he's an illiterate, there is no clear policy in the educational curriculum for mainstreaming these people. So people learn Arabic, they speak Arabic, they don't speak English, they are illiterates. The only option open to them is to fall into the hands of these radical preachers who speak their language, who radicalize them, and the system does not see them because they have been totally marginalized and are voiceless. So how do you have a system that says if you speak Arabic, you are literate, you can work on computers, you can do outsourcing, you can do robotics, you know, in Arabic, you can go into a secondary school, go into university, you can be a biologist, you can be a doctor because there are Arab doctors. You don't need, you've got people who speak Chinese and they're doctors and engineers, they don't speak a word of English. So, I mean, so this hangover of the post-colonial state where...
Now, this is another thing that is coming. This is another thing that is coming to Nigeria. Do you see what he just said here? He said that actually that the people we are tagging illiterate in the north are not illiterate. That those people we think that they are illiterate in the north, they are not illiterate. That what we are calling illiterate are those who speak Arabic because they cannot speak English. We call them illiterate. And when you look at it, when you reason it, you find out that he's actually right. Because the people in the north, they speak Arabic. They speak very fluently, Arabic. So that doesn't make them illiterate. But because they cannot speak English, we from the South call them illiterate. But actually they are not illiterate. Because they can speak Arabic, probably they study Arabic and all that. And he said it that people who speak Arabic, they can be doctors and all that. Yes. But that is the point here. It is the thing that makes Nigeria two different countries. And that is the reason why they are now trying to bring Arabic into all the security forces. That is where you see the Nigeria army have Arabic inscription on it. That is why you see the CGN trying to bring this Sharia law in all Nigeria. And of course, they are going to be reading it in Arabic. It is the Islamization agenda. It is so what they are trying to tell you now is that, okay, we can even begin to speak Arabic so that we can integrate those in the north who are not illiterate, but because they speak Arabic, we call them illiterate. We integrate them into Nigeria, into the system. And they can be working with Arabic to, for the best, to be more productive. And the school curriculum, somebody said it. So this is exactly they are using. Now he's trying to now establish that people in the north are not illiterate. It is because they speak Arabic. So they are not illiterate. That is what he's trying to establish. And believe me, this kind of thought is already being implemented in Nigeria. It's already being implemented. That is why you see all this film everywhere, including the people in Yoruba land, Duduwa land, they are using this Maurice, they are using. They are using to, to push the Islamic agenda in the south. They are telling you you must teach Sharia law, you must bring Arabic into school and all that. Just listen to him here, because a lot of things are going to be reviewed in this video.
Literacy and education itself is defined in being proficient in the language of the colonial master, adds to the sense of marginalization and to the structures of inequality and domination. And we need to begin to interrogate the whole mentality of the post-colonial state.
Did you hear that? He said, we will begin to interrogate the entire mentality of this, that you are illiterate and you are not illiterate because you don't speak the colonial language. So he is now advocating for Arabic.